sin. That's back to the brain. Do this. And go through a chapter says, okay, I've done it. Okay, now do this. I've done it. You do this. I've done it. You see it.
But they're also receptors and they're sensitive to things. So sometimes, like this guy, if she's on certain medicines, she will go protein during the day and then high protein at night. Do a 4-to-1 ratio. So you start to balance.
Are we okay? As far as I know. Okay, I'm going to start.
Things have to cross the blood-brain barriers. But even like for stroke, there's some newer things.
Good morning, Breakfast Clubbers. It's February 9th and you're in Grendel Hall. How about that? Congratulations. So this morning, as always, I'll try to give you some trivia. American Heart. But what about that third one? I don't understand that one. It must be my low vision. Now, who in the world has a lox and bagel day? And today is National Read in the Bathtub Day. Who's going to do that tonight?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll move on. As always, this is our schedule. We'll cover the finances next. And we're still solving. And last month we had $101 collected for Grafton. So we're starting a new year. We didn't make our bogey last year. We didn't get over 2,000, but we'll get there. This is the rundown of today. The free word, YouTube, moving pictures, and ripping music. We'll talk about February classes. And one item of concern that I was wanting to mention, and I'll cover that in just a second. And then we have some lost and found that I wanted to highlight. We have a Walmart bag with pictures of a class when someone was in 3rd grade, I think, or maybe 4th anyway. And then a bunch of children's pictures, and they're all large format. Some of them are sepia, some of them are colored. And they were left in the lab, and they've been in the lost and found for a while. And I'm just thinking that maybe someone here might have accidentally left them when they were copying pictures with the equipment in the lab. So next time, if they haven't been claimed, I will actually include a picture in the slides so that maybe someone can recognize the pictures and know. But it was an elementary school in Chicago. So that said, we'll go on. We've got 1,699 members, and Bill will update me after the meeting if that number's wrong. And we are now announcing, and as a reminder, obviously this is February, but April 1, renewal starts, and it'll run April through June. And it covers 2 in the household for $5, our typical bargain. And now I'd like to also remind you of some other new resources, and I think that you'll have later. There will be a slide pointing out that we have some new equipment in the lab, but you can convert photos, slides, movies, VHS, tapes, and DVDs, and 33 1/3 records and cassettes to DVD, or put them on your thumb drive and plug them into your car. There was a person that came in to the lab the other day, 2 weeks ago, and she bought a new car, and she said, I've got all these CDs. How do I play those in my car? And so one of the lab techs went out, and sure enough, she has all sorts of ports for a USB. So she brought in a bunch of records, we put them on a USB, and she's a happy camper. So if you buy a new car, you don't have a CD player in it, guess what? We're here to help. The next item is there is going to be next month a PhotoSig presentation, and I don't know exactly what Jeff's going to tell you, but I'm sure it's going to be something about photography. April 13th, we're going to have a representative of the library talking about some pertinent topics. And the library really is a nice asset to our community, and they have a lot of computer skills that they advertise, and people can attend classes over there, but also that what you can do, you can go over there and actually do a lot of things on their computers if the lab isn't open. The library is. Okay, we're down to asking Ralph, or telling Ralph that Ralph will update our training for February and March.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Before I get going with the classes, I got a quick question. How many of you have been to our computer club website in the last 30 days? Oh, quite a few. Well, you know, we always talk about, you know, checking the classes on the website, and when you go on there, there's one, I think it's blue, that says classes, and you click on it, and there's nothing. Well, we've got several calendars. The one that has the classes listed is up in the right-hand corner, and it's called Group Calendar. If you click on that, everything is in there. And one of these days, I think we're going to figure out how to get that all organized so what it says will really be what it is. But anyway, we're a little short in February and March on classes because some of our instructors are enjoying the warm weather other than here. So when they get back, I mean, I think we might expand a little bit on March, but really we've only got 2 more classes in February. Bill's going to have a class on iPhones next Monday. Actually, it's going to be 2. He's going to have one at 1 o'clock and one at 6:30. Is that still true, Bill? Yeah. And what he's got on here, the basics is going to be at 1 o'clock, and then it's going to be really good. At 6:30, he's going to have tips and tricks. I bet there's some jokes involved too. And then Steve Klein is going to have an Android class on the 20th at 6:30 in the evening. We've been doing a lot of classes on phones, and I don't want you to think that we're giving up on, say, Excel and Word and things like that. But as I say, some of our instructors are not around that normally do that. So just keep watching the website, and we also have it listed in our lab, and it's on the monitor in front with upcoming classes because there will be more coming. Like right now in March, I've only got 4 classes and 2 Android phones and 1 on Google Backup, and then Jeff is going to do a workshop. This is going to be something different. You know, he's doing the program on
Digital photo album.
what?
March 9th?
Digital photo album.
You to recruit some instructors.
What's that? Oh yeah, there you go. I might get to that.
All this help.
Yeah, all this help. Yeah. A little blank today. But anyway, he's going to have a different type of class. After he does the program in March on photography, we're not going to go into what your subject is. If you're really excited about the scrapbook he's going to show you, you can come into the class and he's going to help you get started. You know, it won't be a class where it's up there and he's going to tell you everything. Say, here's my photos. This is what I'd like to do, and Jeff's going to help you get started if you really want to do one. And you know, that may be something we do in the future. We have a training class, and it entails quite a few things, and then we have maybe a workshop for 2 or 3 hours at a time. You can come in any of that time and work with the instructor, and he'll help you do things. So that's going to be an interesting thing. And as indicated over here with John, we do need more instructors. If you got something that you think you know a little bit about, there's a lot of people that don't know near what you know, believe me. And I'm always interested in getting more instructors, so look me up or tell one of the monitors in the lab that you'd be interested in teaching class. You don't have to come up with a subject. Just tell them and give them your phone number, and they'll give it to me, and I'll call you. We'll talk about some possibilities. We got about 60 different classes that we can teach or we have taught. So hopefully somebody will get really inspired and say, yep, I think I can do that. Thanks.
Now here's the slide that tells you a little bit about a new machine we have in the lab. Heretofore, when we were transferring 8 Super 8 or 16 millimeter film to DVD, we would go through a video camera. So we would play the movie onto a small screen and then capture it on a video camera. This new movie maker device takes an image of each frame. Now it takes longer, but there's never any focus question. It's always in focus when it takes the picture. So cumulatively, you end up with a movie that is of much higher quality than we've been able to generate before in the lab. So if you do have some movies, and in fact, Frank drug some movies in recently that he was not aware of, they were very old. They worked through that device impeccably. Ken Zerwinski is the one that found this device for us. And so it's new in the lab, and we're very pleased with its performance. Recognize that it's not as speedy as the other method, but it is a lot more accurate and will be a very usable product afterward. The other thing that I was wanting to point out was recently we had a couple of questions about Google Plus that is being enunciated on a bunch of people's computers. And Google Plus is going away. And what they're trying to do is alert you on a way to delete Google Plus out of your computer. So if in fact you do have Google Plus on your computer, you may have gotten one of these prompt emails from Google. If you didn't, and you do have Google Plus, then you may want to follow these procedural steps to remove it. If all else fails, come into the lab and I think we can help you. Has anyone gotten a Google Plus prompt? There's a couple, 3 or 4, yeah, there are half a dozen hands. Okay, so that is what that's all about. Google Plus is going away. We have an association board meeting on February 27th at 9 a.m. in this facility, Drundle Hall. And there will also be a new member orientation. If you are a new resident and want to come, it's March 8th at 9 a.m. here in Drundle Hall. And I want to be the first to wish all of you ladies a happy Valentine's Day this coming Thursday. All of you guys better remember it. The other thing I was going to point out was the art and pencil and palette room has been remodeled, as you may be aware. There's going to be an open house on February 21st from 3 to 6 p.m. Demonstrating the changes in that room, and we all might want to visit that and see what they're doing. And I think they said they might have refreshments. So with food, people will come. Okay, these are the 4 presentations that we're going to have today, and I will be the lead-off batter with a free and practical alternatives to Word. Recognize that most of the material that I'm presenting today was prepared by Paul Green, and I'm his Saturday substitute. WordPad, I don't know whether you're familiar with WordPad, but it's on most Windows operating machines. Now that is different than Microsoft Suite that has Microsoft Word in it, and it also has PowerPoint and Access and other tutorials. But WordPad is on almost all machines, and sometimes you may not know you have it. The other one that is free, WordPad is free on your machine. The other one that is free is Libre Office Writer, and it's available as a free download. So how does one decide which is better? Well, even the least expensive computers, tablets, or pads that are supported by a Windows operating system have WordPad, even though you may not know where it is. So you can, and I'll give a prompt in a moment to show you how to get to that. Libre currently there's a new release of Libre Office, and it's now available in the 6.2 version, and it has similar suite tools as Microsoft Suite of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, etc. And they have different terminology for their suite of tools. They call it Writer for Word, Calc for Excel, Impress for PowerPoint, and Base for Access. So those are the tools that would be available for a free application of Libre. Okay, so how do you find where these are? Well, for WordPad, you go to the Start button, and if it's not identified on the left-hand side, you can go to the Start button, go to the search box, and just type in the words WordPad, and then it'll pop up a prompt, and you can click on WordPad and go from there. For Libre, you have to do a download. One, you can go to LibreOffice Program and download it. If you need help to do that onto your machine, feel free to come into the lab. But it's a very easy and simple and relatively speedy download. So what do you get? Well, on the top here you see, and I know it's very small for the folks that are at the back, but this is when you have normal Word, which would be Word, or as I mentioned, all of the other features of the Microsoft Office Suite, you would have a taskbar similar to this displayed when you open Word. But if you open WordPad, this is what it would look like. So it's a reduced, it doesn't have all the features that Word, regular Microsoft Word has, but it's sufficient to do almost anything that you really want to do. The deficiencies are that WordPad does not have spell checker, a thesaurus, or pagination control. There. And it does not create objects like tablets, tables, charts, or text boxes. But it does do all of these other things on the left-hand side. You can create basic text documents such as letters, reports, or stories. Rich text format is available using many font sizes, types, or colors, and you can see that when you were, I'll back up. You can see the all the tools here of the fonts, the sizes, the capitalization, all of the underlining, bold, italics, etc., and in fact color over here. So all the tools are in WordPad that you would normally use in Word. And it does have the common cut, copy, paste operations that one, I always use them. And it numbers and bullets lists for you. It inserts date and time files pictures, objects, etc. So you can back up again. So you can cut and paste or copy, and you can go to views, which would provide other aspects, and you can find and replace operations. Anyway, so that's the comparison between,
Question,
okay,
what is the extension that WordPad puts on, so you can recognize the file?
all you do is you type in to the search box down at the lower left, you can type in WordPad, and it should pop up.
I mean, on the file that you would say, the
Document.
word, the document. What, is it
Extension.
.doc or is that?
Oh, it says docs. It says docs.
Okay.
Well,
It's a
You
DOC.
can specify, I think default on my computer, whatever, is TXT. It's very similar, it's an improved version of Notepad, highly improved version of Notepad. So it does come with TXT, but I think you can also specify like DOC and, you know, some of the others.
Okay, thank you.
When you say it.
Okay, here is a comparison of Word and LibreOffice Writer. So you can see that on the top, this is how Word would open up, and this is how, oops, LibreOffice Writer opens up. So you can see that most of the extensions are there on Libre that you would find on Word, in normal Office Suite Word. So what is LibreOffice? Well, it's an integrated suite of open source Office programs loosely compared to the Microsoft Office suite, which I've loosely done today. It is produced by the Document Foundation Group. It's a nonprofit organization based in Germany and used throughout the world. It's a program that is included in one download and cannot be downloaded separately. So you can't just download Word or Calc or Impress, etc. So you get it as an entire suite, then you select what you want to use. And many documents and files and formats can be read and created in that program. In other words, Libre will often read, Libre will read Office Word and vice versa, I believe. So it's as far as a document that if you had a Word document that came to you, you could modify it and change it in LibreOffice if you have LibreOffice on your machine.
Can I download that onto my Apple so I can use that as opposed to the Apple Word document stuff?
Bill?
You've got a PC at home, don't use that Apple thing.
It's a question for a friend.
I'm not your friend today.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Not sure? Okay.
I don't know.
We have an Apple class that meets every
Use the mic,
second and
use the
fourth.
mic. Push the button.
Push the hold. Oh, here.
Yes, there we go. Okay, we have an Apple group that meets the second and fourth Tuesday of the month at about 9 o'clock. I realize you don't get up about that time, but it's terrible when somebody knows your habits, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, they could give you the answer on the Apple. There's a couple guys who could. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Anytime, Dan.
Okay, so what does LibreOffice entail? It has a writer, which is very comparable to Word. It has Calc, which is a spreadsheet program, very similar and compatible to Excel. And all of these are interchangeable almost. Impress is a PowerPoint, just like the PowerPoint that we're seeing this morning. I could have done this in Libre, or I did it actually in PowerPoint Word Suite or Microsoft Office Suite. Base is Access, and Access is nothing more than a very detailed address book, simply put. And then there's a Math A program that creates and edits math formula. So if you are a math whiz, then Libre Math A is, or Libre Math is for you. Okay, so how would you install Libre? These are some of the steps. You can go to www.libreoffice.org and click Download Now. And the version that is currently available, so that you don't get confused, it'll probably say version 6.2. That's the most current version, and they update these, once a year? More frequently? Okay. More frequently than once a year, so that would be, the 6.2 is the current version. You can watch the bottom of the screen and choose Save once it's clicked the download, and it will go into your download file. You'll locate it in the download file and load it onto your machine. If you have any needs for help, feel free to come into the lab and ask a lab monitor for help, and they may help you, or they may turn you over to a tech. But explore these at your convenience, and hopefully that was helpful.
Let's ask any questions you have.
Why don't you turn your mic
About
on?
5 questions we'll take at the end of each speaker. Wait till somebody comes with a microphone.
I'm gonna turn this thing on.
And the folks with the mic answer the questions.
A couple of years ago, I can't remember how many, the group that controls this split into two, there's another version out there, I don't remember the name of it, they're both free, and they have slightly different features to them, so you may like one better than another one, but it's very good, that's what I have on my computer.
My question is, why do I want it?
It's free.
Free.
Yeah, you could give them a donation, but we are not in a donation spirit on this stuff. Usually.
One other point. There is a way to make this your default word processor. We can do that in the lab. You have to go to the settings menu. Some people come in and say, well, it keeps coming up with Word. Well, we can set it up so it just goes automatically into Libre. So we're happy to help, aren't we, George?
The question about why they have this. Libre will actually read more file formats than Word. And sometimes you get a weird file format. You can open it up in Libre. You can save it as a Microsoft document, whichever file it happens to be. It's a way of transitioning between weird file formats. And that's also, the other thing is you can also set on Libre, you can set the default setting, default setting on Libre. One of the options is to always read or save in Word or in Microsoft functions. So it's transparent in many respects.
The other reason you might want it, if you want to use Word, it's around $100. If you want to use LibreOffice or WordPad, it's free.
We'll install it for you for $100 though.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
One more question. Somebody asked about if you could download Office Libre to the Mac, and you can, as long as it's 10.9 or higher.
Thank you.
Without further ado, the second will be YouTube as a resource. John?
Crowd the mic a little bit.
If you need to install or repair something in your home, you have a tutor available right on your computer. That tutor is the YouTube videos. The woodchucks have been asked how to install a Ring video doorbell, and if they're legal in some city. This is the box that it comes in. And what it does is when somebody approaches your porch, it has a motion detector and it starts a video so that you can see them coming to your door. And then with your phone, you'll get a ring and you answer it here and you can talk to the people on the doorstep. The other thing it does is while you're away, it will record anybody that comes to the door all during the day. You can log on to your phone and see who came to your door all during the day.
Only one press.
This video will show you how to install the doorbell too. Install and plan on connecting it to existing doorbell wire. This is the installation of your door doorbell.
It's automatic.
Your ring doorbell too. We are only charging battery or inflation, even if your wire breaks to existing doorbell wires. Wiring your ring video doorbell too, make sure to set your internal bell limit. Plug the charging cable into the battery. Watching, red lights will act. When only the green light is lit, it's completely charged. Slide the battery back into the compartment. You'll hear it click when the battery is secure. After inserting the battery, it'll take about half a minute for your ring doorbell to power up. Before installation, complete the in-app setup of your ring doorbell indoors near your Wi-Fi router. If you need help, refer to our video on setting up your ring doorbell in the ring. First, shut off power at the breaker. Remove your existing doorbell from the wall and disconnect the wires. Use your ring doorbell to mark the install location. If you're installing your doorbell stuck-up brick or concrete, then use the provided drill bit to drill holes into your wall and insert the included anchors into the holes. If you're installing on wood or siding, you don't need the anchors and can screw your ring doorbell directly into your wall. The optimal installation height for a ring doorbell is 4 feet off the ground. If you're installing a ring doorbell to existing wires that are higher than 4 feet, use the wedge mount to angle it down to improve your view. Now connect your existing doorbell wires. If you're wiring a ring doorbell to existing wires, you'll need a transformer with a voltage of 824-volt AC. A resistor must be used if you're wiring directly to a transformer. Please note that most doorbells and DC transformers are not supported. If your existing doorbell wires are too short to wire your ring doorbell, you can use these wire extensions and wire nuts to connect them together. To use the wire nuts, hold the wires together and twist the wire nuts clockwise over them until they're secure. Loosen the screws on the back of your doorbell and insert the safety connectors like this. After connecting the wires, tighten both screws on the back of your doorbell to ensure a good connection. If you're wiring your doorbell to a digital bell, you'll need to install this type. For more information, refer to our video on diode installation. You can also refer to the printed manual that came with the ring doorbell if you need help. If you have a mechanical bell, do not install the diode because doing so can damage your bell. Get all the wires and wire nuts, if they were used, into your wall. Then secure your ring doorbell with the provided screws. Afterwards, install your faceplate by slotting it in at the top and clicking it into place. Finally, use the star-shaped end of the screwdriver to secure the faceplate with one of the provided security screws. Turn power back on at the breaker. The front light on your Ring video doorbell will illuminate. Congratulations, your Ring video doorbell is now ready to use.
The videos that you'll find on YouTube are by various people that have done that. Some are professionals, some are amateurs, some are really good and correct, some are not so good, and some are not correct. So you really kind of have to look through them to see which one is which, but there's almost always a good video for something you're going to want to do. For example, on the Ring, there's more than a dozen videos on there. I selected a real short one because we don't have much time in here. This was a 3-minute video There's a 16-minute one if you want to see a little more detail on how to do it. If you need to replace your garbage disposal, that's a fairly easy job, but there's a lot of steps there, and a YouTube video is a perfect way to learn how to do that.
A garbage disposer adds convenience to any kitchen. Today's models operate more smoothly and are quieter than older ones. So whether you're replacing your existing model or installing one for the first time, stick around and we'll show you how. If you're also installing a new sink, attach the disposer to the sink before setting the sink into place. For working under an existing sink, a bucket and towel will help you keep your workspace clean and dry. There are two main types of mounting systems, 3-bolt and easy mount. If you choose a new disposer with the same mounting system as the old one, it will speed the process, but only if the existing mounting system is still in good condition. Before you begin, make sure you read and understand the safety and installation instructions that come with your particular model. Begin by shutting all power off to the disposer at the breaker panel. If your disposer plugs into the wall, unplug it. Also, it's a good idea to turn the water off to your sink. Place a bucket or pan underneath the disposer and remove the drain pipe. If there's a drain tube from your dishwasher, remove that also. Now, insert a screwdriver into the locking ring and unlatch the old disposer and carefully lower it. If your disposer is hardwired, remove the access panel of the wires and undo the electrical connections. Again, make sure the power is turned off first. If you need to install a new sink flange, loosen the mounting screws of the existing one and pry out the mounting ring. From above, remove the old sink flange and clean any old putty out from the sink. Now, apply a bead of plumber's putty to the new sink flange. Place a towel down and use a weight, such as your new disposer, to hold the new flange in place while you install the new mounting ring from below. For easy mount disposers, simply screw the new mounting flange into place. For 3-bolt style, put the new gasket and mounting ring over the sink flange and secure with a snap ring. Tighten the 3 screws on the mounting flange in progression so they're snug, but don't over-tighten. If your new disposer is connected to the drain from your dishwasher, remove the knockout plugs by tapping with a hammer and screwdriver. Then remove this from the disposer. If you cannot get it out, you can leave it and the disposer will grind it up, but it might take several days to be completely ground up. If you do not have a dishwasher, leave the plug in place. If your new disposer is hardwired, remove the electrical access plate and attach the wires according to the manufacturer's instructions. Lift the unit up to the mounting flange, align it, and with a screwdriver, twist the locking ring until it locks into place. Now you can reattach the drain lines to the disposer. If you're installing a disposer that's larger than the old one, you may have to cut the drain pipe to fit with a hacksaw. Clean any excess putty from the sink flange. Put your bucket or pan under the disposer and turn the water back on. Check underneath for any leaks. If everything's fine, plug the disposer in or turn the power back on and test it again. Check your owner's manual to see what you can or cannot put down the disposer. To stay up to date on all of Menard's how-to projects, subscribe to our channel here.
John, it took me a lot longer than that to do that.
How many people have cleaned the cutters in their disposal? Got one over here. All you do is throw 6 ice cubes in there and turn the thing on. But warn the other people in the house because it makes a hell of a racket. Are there any questions? No questions. I answered all the questions.
Do you like your ringtone?
Yes.
I would ask, how many people take pictures with their smartphones? But we're not gonna include a lot of people here. 1 person, 2 people, 3. We're not gonna count that up. So, once you get them in your smart device, or your camera, how do you get it to your computer or some other device? That's we're gonna talk about a couple of ways. There are many different ways, and we're gonna talk about a couple of the gotchas. Let's see. Did I press the wrong button? Yeah. Right. Oh, the right one. There we go. I haven't had that class in our monitor group yet. Okay, so again, let's see, where's the, oh, there it is, there we go. You got your picture of your grandkids or your kids if you didn't use the condom thing. And you want to move them over to the cam for the, I know. There's supposed to be an electric shock here, but when I start telling jokes, I quit. I guess they figured it out. So there's several ways to do it. One is to just connect a smart device. You get a cable with your smart device. Usually you get one with, you can use to charge the battery. And you take that cable, it's got a USB port on one end of it, and you stick that into the computer. And then you go, whoops, there we go. And you look in File Explorer to see if your smart device has been recognized. Fairly straightforward with Android devices. With Apple devices, Apple wants to keep you protected, and sometimes it wants to keep you so protected that you can't do certain things. So, but we'll go into that in just a second. But on your PC, the other way to do it is to, on your PC, tap the Start Windows logo, which is a little button down in the bottom left-hand corner, or you can click on the window at the bottom left-hand corner of the display. Type in Photos, that'll open up a Photos app, and then once that opens, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a way to import from a USB device to be able to pull your pictures in. I'm going to back up a second. Apple, like I said, wants to protect you, sometimes at the cost of you not being able to do what you want to do. I'll leave it at that. What I have found out from personal experience, if I connect up my iPhone to my PC with that USB cable, sometimes I cannot see through the internal storage, so I have to open up iTunes, the iTunes app, which you can download from the Microsoft Store, I think it is. And once iTunes is open and you log into iTunes and you hook up your smart device, then for whatever reason, File Explorer will let you look into the phone to see those files, usually a DCM file, that has all of your pictures. So if you hook up your phone to the PC and you don't see the pictures in File Explorer, whoops, darn, well, there we go. File Explorer is kind of the key. You may have to do an extra step by having the iPhone recognize that you have iTunes in there, and iTunes then lets File Explorer into that secret folder, otherwise known as your smartphone. Does that make sense? They're not asleep yet.
Silence is golden.
There we go. Silence is golden, or they're still eating those good donuts. Okay, so the other way to do it is you can use the cloud to back up your photos, or I personally use Google Photo, but there are a lot of different ways to do that. The only downside with using the cloud to back up your photos from your smartphone is many times the cloud will compress your pictures a little bit or a lot before it puts it up on the cloud. They're trying to save some space in this cloud that seems to be expanding all the time. And so if you really want, if you have a nice picture and you think you're going to do an 8x10 or a 20x30 poster, don't think that this file that's up here in any of these clouds is going to work. So you want to take the original full file, original picture on your phone, and move it the other way we were talking about, getting it through File Explorer to download it onto your PC before you do anything with it. Is that clear enough or no? Yeah, okay. Pretty much any picture that's up here will look great even on a big screen TV. But there's a difference between a big screen TV that you see and what you see when Walmart or Walgreens or whoever tries to print that picture for you. So, or if Jeff is kind enough to print your picture, or your picture's good enough, you definitely don't want to pull something off of any of these clouds. It's kind of Haven't gotcha. Microsoft Windows 10 is starting to connect to smart devices. I don't know if they've declared a war between them and Apple over or what, but they are starting to do more and more links with that. So don't let that put you off. And if you need help, you got to put the bat signal up. Or you can bring it to the computer club and we'll help you out. So there you go. Now on to ripping music. And here's Mr. Ripper himself. Name's not Jack though. Okay, so the dance is right. Yeah, in the middle of the laser.
Good morning. Let's see. Okay, I thought they were going to supply a background for all this, so I didn't put any background in this, but apparently not. The ripping CDs to MP3, and they've kind of talked about it a little bit. When you buy a new car today, most of them don't have a CD player. So if you're used to playing CDs in your car, like, okay, what do I do? And we've had people come into the lab and say, well, what do I do with this? So we've stepped through it with a number of people. So ripping your CDs to the computer is the first step in doing it. And what is ripping? Process of making a digital copy of some or all tracks on a CD to some other media. The USB flash drive, the hard drive, your phone, an MP3 player. And most cars no longer have CD players. Some people like to put music on their phone or on their tablet so that if they're traveling, they have some music. Put music on an MP3 player. MP3 players are pretty much going away because of all the smartphones that are out now. Save music to your computer. And that's one thing I like to do. I have a lot of music on my computer, so that while I'm browsing the internet or something, I can just open up Windows Media Player or some other player, and I can be listening to music while I'm browsing the internet. Now, ripping with Windows Media, there's a lot of programs that will rip CDs. iTunes will do it, Windows Media Player. There's other free ones and paid ones that you can use. Today we're going to talk about Windows Media Player. So first step is starting Windows Media Player on your computer. We're talking PCs. If you're using a Mac, you would probably use iTunes. Now, there's a couple modes. There's the Now Playing and the Library. This is the Now Playing mode. And if it comes up that way, you just click on Go to Library, and it'll come up in the Library mode. Now, when you first get into Library mode, you won't see all of this and all of this here, because and that depends on what you've clicked on here. You can select music that you've already ripped by artist, by album, by genre, and then that will appear here. But if you don't have a CD in the DVD player or in the DVD drive, and this again is assuming that you have a DVD drive in your computer. Many of the new laptops don't even come with that. So if you're in that situation, come to the lab and we can help you out with that. We've had people come to the lab and we've ripped CDs at the lab. We've shown them how to do it and then let them just sit there and do it. So it doesn't come up with this right away. When you put a CD in the drive, as soon as you close the drive, it will read the CD and it will identify the name of the album and all the tracks on the album. It connects to and you have to be connected to the internet to do this, but it connects to an online database of all the CDs that are, just about all the CDs that have ever been made. If you've got one you made yourself, that's probably not going to find it. But this information is not stored on the CD. It needs to find that online. So as soon as it reads the disk, it'll populate that, and then it'll show it here too. It'll also find the album art. And it's usually, right. This is the CD that I used, and it found the album art, exactly the same album art that is on here, and it shows it there. Now, as soon as you start ripping, that little picture there will show up here as well. So, and before you put the CD in, you won't see these two menu items either, the rip CD or the rip settings. But as soon as you put the CD in, those will show up. Oftentimes, also, as soon as you put the CD in, it will start playing the CD. You don't want to be playing the CD at the same time you're trying to rip it. Because it's trying to do two things at once, and the drive will be jumping back and forth trying to keep up. Your ripping will go much faster if you click on stop and then just rip the CD. Now, before you click on rip CD, you want to make sure your rip settings are correct. Now, so you click on rip settings, and then you'll get this window pop up, and it will come right to the rip music tab. If it doesn't, if it's on one of the other tabs, you click on rip music, you don't care about any of the other tabs. The first thing here is rip music to this location. It's going to default to your music folder on your computer. You can change that to any, click on here, change, and it'll allow you to change it to any other folder on your computer. And file name, by default, anything that the files, the tracks that it rips are going to be named the track number and the track or the song title. If you want additional information, you can click on file name, and you can actually add other or change. If you didn't want the track number on there, you can take that off and have it put on the artist name as part of the file name. You can have the album name as part of the file name. So you can change that. You don't really need to. The next step is the format. Most times, most cars will accept an MP3 format. I looked through two owner's manuals, and I couldn't find anywhere in there where it said what formats either those two cars would accept. But MP3 is pretty universal, so that's probably going to work. You can just rip a CD to a flash drive and put it in your car and try it out, and it'll probably work. There's other formats. If you click on the down arrow, there's FLAC, which is a lossless, and MP3 is a lossy format. So you can lose some of the sound quality depending on how you set the slider. You can change the quality of the sound. But MP3 it's like a JPEG for pictures, if you're familiar with that. You can change the compression on a picture. Well, you can do the same thing with MP3s. So just choose MP3, and then these two, if you're doing a lot of CDs, you might want to check rip CD automatically. That way, as soon as you put the CD in, it's not going to start playing it, it's going to start ripping it right away, according to whatever other settings you have here. And then if you're doing a stack of them, and you want to just rip production, you can eject the CD after ripping. So as soon as you put it in, it'll start ripping it. As soon as it's done ripping it, it'll eject it, and then just take the CD, put another one in, close it, and start ripping again. So it speeds up the process. Now, the quality. Let's see, right now it's 192 kilobits. That's a reasonable quality. You can test this yourself. You can rip at the lowest quality, which is 128, I believe. Much of this, if you ever listen to Huntley Radio, much of the audio that you listen to at Huntley Radio is 128. Occasionally, there'll be some at 192, but most of it is 128. That's one of those things that, as we get older, we lose the ability to hear those real high frequencies. So you may not even notice the difference, but 192 is a good compromise. So I would suggest just set it for 192. The higher you go here, you go up to 320. That makes all your files larger, so you get less on the, it takes more storage to record those. So the lower you go, the more you can get on there. Now, having said that, a 16 gig flash drive will hold about over 2,500 songs. So at 192. So it's not that big a deal. I wouldn't put 2,500 songs on there because your car has to index all that, and it makes your entertainment system run slower when you're indexing it. So 192 is a good compromise. You're gonna lose some of the quality, but you probably won't even notice it. So those are the settings there. When you finish with that, you just click on OK. You can click on Apply and OK, but OK does both of them. And then you come back to here, and you click on, now this said RIP. You click on RIP CD, and as soon as you do, it changes to Stop RIP. And then it starts ripping. Now these two songs, haven't seen it, it copied the album art over here. And that album art will be saved on your computer too, along with all the song titles. And you can see now it's ripping this one. You'll see a progress bar going across. And it'll just continue on down until it's finished. And then if you told it to eject, as soon as it finishes this last song, it'll kick the tray out, and take the CD out and put another one in. Now, once you're done with that ripping process, you go to the folder where you saved it on your hard drive. And it's best to copy at the artist name level, because you'll have your music folder, then you'll have Lee Greenwood and then American Patriot and all the songs in that. That's the name of the CD album, and then all the songs in there. And if Lee Greenwood had another one, there would be another album name, and then all the tracks under that. Doing it at the artist name level, it's easier for you to organize. Now each of these has the artist name and song title in the file. So your car can read that, but it's easier for you to organize it if you have it here. Because if you just have a whole bunch of tracks, you may not remember who the artist is for all that. So copy it at the Lee Greenwood level, and then copy that to your flash drive that you're going to bring into your car. Now, this is not a simple, this may be confusing for some people. If you come into the lab, we can help you with all this process. It's not that difficult. Now, what flash drives to use? I have a recommendation for that. I have a couple. I have actually both of these. This is what I use in my car. They're really small in size. And this is one right here. It's advisable to use something like this because if you use a larger one, it sticks out and you may bump it and break the flash drive. Now this one is all metal, and I use that for a lot of things, and all metal and very durable. So if you bump into that, you're probably not going to break this. But if you bump it hard enough, you're probably going to break the USB port in your car. That would be very expensive. So ideally, you buy one of these small ones. You can buy them I looked at Walmart and Best Buy, and they list them online, but not in the store. Now you may find them in the store, but according to their website, those aren't in the store. Amazon has them, Best Buy online, Walmart online, and a 16 gig is probably about $10. So they're not and Amazon too. So that's the recommendation. It doesn't stick out very far. So some of the USB ports are in your dash, and if one sets a purse down or something, maybe bumps it, or inside the center console, you throw an umbrella in there or something. And one of these larger ones. Somebody came into the lab once, and it had broken because it's a plastic housing with a metal plug, and it was bent. And he broke the connections in there, so it's best to have something small and very sturdy, like this one. It doesn't stick out very far, so even if you bump it, you're probably not going to hurt it. So, like I say, Amazon, Walmart, and suggestions. Now, I do this for my car and my motorcycle. I have music on my motorcycle too. Make a folder on your hard drive for the contents of your flash drive. So when you're sitting at your computer, you're thinking about what music you want. You can change that, and then when you remember, if you remember to bring the flash drive into the house, you can just plug the flash drive in and just format this and then copy the folder with all the music onto here, and you've got all your music. The other thing that I do is I have two of these, one in the car, and I keep one in the house, so that even though I have it on the hard drive, when I'm ready, I copy it to here, and I put it by my car keys, and I bring it out to the car, because I always forget to take it out of the car and bring it into the house. So, bring it into the car, and then, okay, I just pull that one out, put the other one in, and then bring the other one back in the house. So and they're cheap enough, so get two of them. And then, like I said before, 192 kilobits is a good compromise. You can fit over 2,500 4-minute tracks. So if your songs are less than 4 minutes, you can get more than 2,500. And then there's alternate ways of doing it. Today, with so many people with smartphones that have Bluetooth, you can Bluetooth your phone to your car, and any music that's on your phone you can play through the Bluetooth through your car. And on your phone, if you have Spotify or Pandora, you can connect to the digital network through your cellular system, maybe using your data plan. But you can be playing music on your phone and then Bluetooth to the car, so it comes through the car sound system, it'll sound much better. And then there's the old-fashioned way. Many cars, I don't know, some cars anyway, they did have just the old-fashioned connector that you can plug into your phone or into your MP3 player, and then plug it into sometimes there's an auxiliary jack on your car. You can do that. Or if you had a CD player and you didn't want to rip them, you can get it from the old-fashioned CD players and plug this into there. And if you have the auxiliary jack in your car, you plug that in and just put it in. Then you have to be changing CDs in your car, and that's not very convenient. So that's about all. Do I have questions on ripping CDs? No?
How many people know that you can pick the song you want to hear by just saying it in most of the cars?
Well, some of the cars.
Most of
Yeah.
Most of the new ones have some kind of speech to that too. Yeah, let's get a mic over to that person.
While you're walking over, we'll get this one right here.
Hi, do I understand that you can download on your flash drive and then just stick the flash drive into USB port and then it works through the radio?
Yes, you'd have to look at your owner's manual, and it should tell you where the USB port is. Often it's somewhere in the dash near the radio, or in one of my cars it's down lower, or in the center. My car, it's in the center console. You open up the center console and get a flashlight because it's dark down there, and you just plug it in down there. And then there's usually a button on your steering wheel, or it might be on your radio, that lets you select the input. And usually if it's on radio, well then you're listening to the radio. But if you push the input button, you can change it to USB, and then it will bring up the USB display. Now, when you bring up the USB display, you have options there. You can usually go through a menu that you can choose if you want a particular artist, or if you want a particular album, or a particular genre. If you have, some Frank Sinatra songs on there, and amongst other things, and you want to listen to Frank Sinatra, you can just took Frank Sinatra and it'll play all of Frank Sinatra off of it. So there's a lot of convenience to that, and a lot of good reasons to do that.
Just as a suggestion for the USB connection, if you use an extension cord, either a foot or a 2-foot cord, you'll save on the USB connection itself. It's like in the Apple, the back of the Apple USB connection. To try and reach back there with your flash drive, you're better off using a little extension. It's much easier, and you don't wreck the USB on the computer.
You could do that, although it's probably better to have this than you don't have the USB drive, the bigger drive flopping around. But yeah, that will work too.
One of the things you could, those small little USB drives they have for the cars, they're usually at Walmart, they're not in the electronics section. They're in the automotive section.
You talking about these guys?
And I imagine they'll be at,
You talking about those?
Target, yeah. They're in the automotive section, hanging up near the radio someplace. They have the little guys.
I didn't walk around and look, but I was on their website, and according to their website, it was, the only way you could get it was, you could pick it up in a few days in the store.
Yeah, a lot of stores have them. They might not have many sizes. They might only have 16 or 32 gigabyte.
And 16 would be fine. I wouldn't worry about getting 16 being too small. Like I say, if 2,500 songs isn't enough for you, well, then maybe you want something bigger.
Ken, if you have more than one USB port in your car, what will the car recognize if you have one thing in one USB port and the music in another?
Depends on the car.
Yeah, it depends. I don't know. I haven't had that situation. Maybe it has USB 1 and 2 that you can select from. Oh, another thing that you can do is
Usually you can select which USB 1 or USB 2.
One thing that kind of relates to what Bill was talking about, if you plug in a cord into your phone and then you plug that cord into the USB port, oftentimes that will come up as a USB device in your car, and you'll be able to play the songs off of your phone through your car without Bluetoothing it or anything other.
I actually have a question that I sort of asked back at the Libre writer discussion. Now, given the fact that this program is so similar to Microsoft Word, what is the history of lawsuits, if any? And I'd be interested in hearing more about that.
Lawsuits, there hasn't, I mean, OpenOffice is the one who started this, and apparently they had to deal with it, and I'm sure Microsoft did complain about it at that time.
Yeah,
For many years. So, but then, and there was talk about OpenOffice versus Libre. OpenOffice stopped developing it, so the developers broke off and formed Libre, and then now OpenOffice has started developing again. So they're both. All right.
They're both open source.
Yes.
Ken, hey Ken, what is the background of the term ripping music? It sounds so harsh and aggressive.
Well, yeah, it does. The background, I didn't research the background of it, although it's kind of a, sounds like a brute force. You're not damaging the CD at all. Yeah. Anyway.
If you go to LibreOffice, do they have a Windows Media Player function in Libre?
No.
Okay, so you need Windows to be able to do it to take the CDs to your computer. To rip the CDs off to your computer, you need that Windows Media Player.
Well, Windows Media Player comes with Windows.
Right.
Oh, okay, it's not Office.
Yeah, it's not part of Office. Yeah, these are all separate discussions.
Okay, why don't we wait a minute? We got a couple questions and we all move out at the same time that way. It'll make it easier for everybody.
Ken, the question came up about lawsuits with LibreOffice. OpenOffice was originally owned and supported by Adobe, and I'm sure that their legal department had that much under control, and then they decided they would no longer support it, and that's when it rolled off as LibreOffice.
Actually, I think it was Oracle, isn't it?
Oracle, and then it was bought by by Adobe or whatever it was.
Okay.
And one last thing, someone left a hat over here on the table. If you have misplaced your hat, feel free to pick it up before you leave. There's another question.
One more?
Yes. Is that flash drive the same kind as you would use for photos?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty, they're universal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. If anybody has any questions, come on up here. We'll be up here for a little while yet. Thank you.
The flash drives that are made like for the iPhone, it's